Hare Krishna. So in shloka number 29, Krishna said that he is equal to everyone, but then he is inclined towards his devotees. Suppose we ask a question to Krishna. Krishna, what if your devotee slips and he falls down? Still you will consider him as a devotee? Will he be still very, very dear to your heart? This question Krishna is answering here in shloka number 30. So let's see the merciful, attractive answer of Krishna. Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhur eva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. So here Krishna is saying, api chet, even if, suduracharo, even if one commits abominable actions, most abominable actions, bhajate mam ananya bhag, and still if he is engaged in my devotional service, ananya bhag, without getting deviated, sadhur eva samantavyah, it's my order that he should be considered saintly. Samyak vyavasito hi saha. Why? Why should he be considered saintly? Because samyak vyavasito hi saha, because he is properly situated in determination. Vyavasitaha. So here Krishna is saying, doesn't matter even if my devotee slips, still it's my order that he should be considered saintly, he should be considered a devotee. This is a very important shloka to understand that what should be our dealing with people around, the devotees around, especially the ones who might do some things which might not be very proper. And also, what should be the perspective towards our own self when we do something wrong? What should we be doing at that time, or what should we be thinking about ourselves at that time? A very important shloka for all the practicing devotees, all the sadhakas. Okay, let's see some of the important points now. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. Now, this conditional and constitutional, there are two important words used here. What is conditional? As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for devotees, in the connection with conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. So in simple terms, here it's given. So conditional activities means those activities which we do to maintain this body, to protect this body, and so on. Basically to take care of this body. Because in conditional state, a person is more in the bodily consciousness. So he has to take care of the body. And now what about the constitutional part? The living entity is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord, has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position and they're technically called devotional service. So what is our constitutional position? What is our swarupa? Jivera swarup hoy Krishnera nityadas. So we are eternally the servant of Krishna. And our constitutional position is we are servant of Krishna. So a servant is supposed to serve the master, and that is called as devotional service. So conditional state to take care of the body, constitutional state or constitutional activities are those activities which are involved in devotional service. Now what happens is, in a devotee's life, mostly both of them, conditional activities and constitutional activities, will go parallel to each other. But then sometimes it might happen that the conditional and constitutional, they are just colliding or they are going in opposite directions. So how to understand this then? Because if the devotee is doing something away from his constitutional nature, means he is not doing something good. So here it is given. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially, politically, But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. So this is a very nice point, which is made here, that at times it might happen that some devotee might do some activity which might be most abominable in social point of view, in political point of view, but still such a person should be considered as a devotee. Why so? Here it's said in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in transcendental service of Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. This is the crux of this particular verse. Now, accidentally he might have done some abominable activities, some sinful activities. But then, Lord is so merciful, he just sees that, okay, is he practicing bhakti with one pointed focus or not? Is he doing Ananya Bhakti or not? If he is doing Ananya Bhakti, wholeheartedly serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even after that accidental, abominable activity, Krishna, being situated in the heart of the person, purifies him, excuses him for his sinful activity that he might have done, and forgives, and at the same time forgets. This is the glory of Lord Sri Krishna. This is the glory of doing one-pointed devotional service to Lord Krishna. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for, as explained in next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as a devotee completely situated in Krishna consciousness. So what should be our perspective, our vision towards those people who are nice devotees but suddenly some accidental fall down happens? We shouldn't make any comment there. That devotee and Krishna, they will see, that is their problem. We as outside people, we have to stay away from that. There is no need to comment anything on that person. There is no need to gossip about that in the devotee circle. We have to just see, and maybe we have to pray for that person. That will please Krishna. But then suppose, let's say, there is an accidental fall down and we start blaspheming that person. That, oh, I was knowing this person is going to fall down, his activities are like that, this, that. Just imagine that same person, he might become a pure devotee in future by the mercy of Krishna. He might get purified and he might become a pure devotee. He might go back to Godhead. At that time, what will happen to us? Our destination will only be hell, Naraka. There will be no other destination, because we have commented, we have blasphemed a person who has become a pure devotee. So in this way, as devotees, we shouldn't be much bothered about all these accidental fall downs of other devotees. Our duty is amanina manadena. We should respect everyone and expect none in return. This is what is our mood as devotees. Here it is given, the word mantavyaha is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. Now, suppose, let's talk with Krishna and see. Suppose we ask Krishna that, okay, you're saying that even if there is some accidental fall down, still he should be considered a devotee. So Krishna, is it that when he is engaged in devotional service, he will be considered as a devotee only for that portion of activities, and when he is doing abominable activities, he is not considered as a devotee? So here Krishna is saying, mantavyaha, it's my order that he should be considered as a devotee all the time. All the time, not just a portion when he is doing devotional service. So, if suppose we violate this, what are we doing? We are violating the order of Krishna. Suppose we comment on a person who has accidentally fallen from his state of devotional service. So at that time, what will happen? We are actually violating the order of Krishna and we are committing offense against Krishna. So this is a very important point to note. So he is using the word mantavyaha. It's my order. And then here it is said, now even when one accidentally falls down, is it that his devotional service, the glory of his devotional service comes down? The answer is given here. It is from Narsimha Puran, a very nice shloka. The translation is this: If one fully engaged in devotional service of Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. So when we see the moon, there are various spots on the moon. So does those spots stop the moonlight to be diffused? No. Those spots are there, but it hardly matters. The moonlight is there. And still the moon looks so beautiful. So in this way, these small fall downs here and there, those are just like small spots here and there. We should just ignore. That's what is told here very nicely. Now, here it is said, on the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. Now, we do some abominable activity. We violate some rules and regulation, break some regulative principle. And then we go to others and we say, whatever it is, I have broken, but I am still a devotee. Where is it given? See, 9:30, apichetsu duracharo. This we cannot do. It's not a license for us that, okay, I am doing devotional service, so I will do sin also. In fact, this is one of the great offense to the holy name. That is, to commit sinful activity on the strength of devotional service. This is a big offense. Thinking I am doing devotional service, let me do any sinful activity. That's okay. Krishna is saying, still I will be considered as a devotee. No. Knowingly when we do, it is not called as accidental fall down. It is a planned fall down, not accidental fall down. So here it is given that devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to fall downs as previously explained. So, see, when we are doing devotional service, what are we actually doing? We are going against the flow of the river of this world. So everyone is going in one direction, we are actually swimming in the other direction. Everyone are doing sense gratification under the illusory potency of the Lord. And what are we doing? We are going against that. We are trying to directly challenge the illusory potency of the Lord, saying, come what may, I will not do sense gratification. I will do devotional service. Why will the illusory energy of the Lord leave us just like that? There's a tight fight that will happen between the Maya Shakti and the devotees. But then, what will happen is when a devotee is weak, in new stage, just started, neophyte. So it might happen that the person might fall. It's not that we'll remain all the time straight and it will be very nice and things like that. There will be some fall downs here and there. But as devotees, we should understand that this is going to happen. At that time, instead of going low in our devotional service, we should intensify our devotional service. Hold the hand of the senior devotees, the pure devotees, and just come up. So as we always say, that fall down will be there. But then the intensity of fall down we have to decide. It's not that this low phase of our life, it shouldn't go too low also. As soon as we are going low, as soon as our bhakti is going low, immediately we contact our guide, our Shiksha Guru, our Diksha Guru. We talk to them. We try to understand that what's happening, and with their help, we come back again. So this is what we have to do when it happens to us. Actively, we have to keep a watch. Actively, that what's happening to me. If my bhakti is going low, immediately I take a notice of it, report to the superior whom I am taking guidance from, and by their blessings, by their mercy, by their instructions, I would like to come back as fast as possible. So now let's see, in next shloka it is given. Now suppose a person might say that, he is a person who is sudurachara. He has committed offensive activities, abominable activities. How can he still be considered as a devotee? Now Krishna has something to say on this. Let's hear from him in the next shloka. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna